in Ipswich town, and I've come to visit Chad for the second time. Chad is way. Chad is quite happy to let me have an interview with him in his living conditions. Okay, we've just given Chad some foil blankets, another coat, some socks from well wishers, and um, we're here to do a little mini interview. But I'm not going to disclose that at the moment. You're going to have to follow it. I'll write it. But thanks, Chad. What do you think about your living conditions and that Ipswich is not helping you?
It's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
What do you want the system to do for you?
Help me.
Help you?
Yeah. Do something. They do nothing.
They've not done anything, have they?
No.
A couple of weeks ago, you lost your partner to pneumonia.
Yeah.
How long you guys been on the streets for?
4 years.
4 years, and your female was on the streets with you?
Yeah. And we was living outside Sainsbury's for a year.
Mm-hmm.
The Sainsbury's took us to court and got us evicted.
Right.
And they gave us an asthma, being homeless.
Okay.
So I'm not there sitting in doorways.
Well, where else are you supposed to go?
That's what I told him.
So, and I asked you a question earlier on today, was why you wouldn't take the help of, I forgot what it's called now, Salvation Army, sorry. Why you wouldn't take the help from them?
Because why should you have to pay £70 a fortnight of your own money for food that whether you eat it or not, you still got to pay for it?
How much money do you get?
Me, I don't get money.
You don't get any money? No. Have you been sanctioned as well?
No, because I don't have a postcode.
You don't have a postcode?
No.
So if we get something in place for you to get your money, that would be a good one, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, so you don't have a postcode, so you can't get any money. So you can't go into the dole centre and say, look, it's my payday, can I have my money?
No.
So you're living on nothing?
Yeah.
How are you getting for food?
I don't. I just keep buying food.
Isn't there a soup kitchen up the road?
Yeah, but there's too many people go there. There's too many drugs up there, and politics, and people fighting, and I can't be dealing with it.
No.
It's too much of it.
It's too much.
There's people going there they don't even need the stuff. It's a joke. To go homes to go to. I know it's not just there for homeless people. They don't need that vulnerable people, but these people live there. They don't need it. They don't need it. And they just got bags full of food and go home to their houses. Joke.
Yeah, I just met another guy on the street actually on the way home from visiting you last. His name was Dave, I think, but he was sofa surfing, so he has warmth through friends, but he was on the street because his money had been sanctioned, so he has no money, so that's why he's begging on the street.
Dave, I don't know anybody called Dave.
Dean? Maybe it's Dean. And I went back for him, actually wasn't there when I went back, so...
Where was that?
On the bridge, on Stoke Bridge.
What, Mark?
No, his name wasn't Mark. He was a young chap. He didn't look too hard done by.
He's not homeless.
No, he said he's sofa surfing, but however, he doesn't get any money from the government because they sanctioned it. I'm going to stop this now at the moment. I'm going to write down everything that you say to me. I'm going to try and get this addressed because this is not on why you have to sleep like this on the street. You choose not to be around Salvation Army because you're worried about the other kind of clientele.
It's not that. It's the same. I'm supposed to have a key worker from Angry Care Trust.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't done nothing for me. Nothing. Angry Care Trust have got homes. They've got they got access to all sorts of stuff. I read a website in the library, yeah, and they get big donations from Santander Bank every year, yeah. And you know what? They're a joke. At Christmas time, I was supposed to go see my family, yeah, and they said to me, "I'm going to buy some clothes from the Road Trust, yeah." They didn't pay for it. The Road Trust pays for it, which is a charity, yeah.
Hold on. So the video you saw, the video that you saw is my first person that I helped, and I went out my way. Okay, that's in 2016. That person was on multiple of drugs and got himself clean with the help of myself. That person, everybody walked past. Everybody walked past. Nobody helped. They didn't intervene. I could go on with that interview, but I'm not going to go on with that interview. That day I met that man was the day I came out of court myself, nearly losing my home. I could not walk past that person on the street. I did not know him, but my conscience got the better of me. Ask the question, where can you help? You heard my dog in the background. I used to take that dog everywhere. Upon taking this man in, which I did to help him rebuild his life, whilst I was going through court myself in losing my own home, it didn't matter. I helped him get clean. I helped him get his home back. He is just one of many. I literally have got to the point where I am now having to justify who I am. So I'm going to tell you. I was born in 1970. October 1970. That makes me 50 this year. I will read your messages out in a moment, darling. I am going to be 50 this year. I have been through the mill and back. I was born and raised in Ipswich, Suffolk. And I am telling my story today. I was born and raised in Ipswich, Suffolk. And hold on. Can't do it without music. And I was born to a white mother. I'd like for you to share this post out at least to one person, please. It's good. What I'm going to say today, I've had enough. The hat is on, and when the hat is on, that means I've had enough. I'm in red. That means it's an alert. That means I want the awareness today. Okay? I am sick to death of being bullied and ridiculed for my color of my skin. I was born and raised in Ipswich, Suffolk. My mother was white. She was 14 years old when she met my father, who is black. So they had a rocky relationship in those days, and leaving me without a father who went off to prison. My mother also went off to prison. Yeah, Holloway. My dad, Norwich. Leaving me a child, and this is what goes on today in the community every day of your lives. Leaving me a child and several other children, but I will talk about my experience. Upon leaving me for strangers, and when I only in last year, 2019, was I told that I was dropped off on a doorstep to total strangers. Now that went on throughout my life, didn't it, for a little bit? And then guess what? I'm meeting my mother's new partner, and I'm meeting my father's new partner. So now you're brought up in this separated home living once they come out of prison. But in the midst of that, somebody else is teaching us things, aren't they? And unhealthy things too. And you're witnessing violence. You're witnessing crime. You're witnessing drugs and alcohol. Violence. This is you as a child, and this goes on today. You're witnessing parents squabbling amongst each other.
Then they get back together. Then your whole world changes. Oh, wow, I got back with my mum and dad. And then they argue all over again because they're not quite healed from all the damage that they've had in their own lives before giving birth to children. The cycle of abuse then gets implemented into the children because they're witnessing it. I was that child. I suffered because people couldn't get their acts together before they had children. I suffered the most traumatic experiences of my life throughout my life. And it started at childhood. What chance did I have to grow when the parents were in prison? What chance did they have if they didn't have the right help either? So I'm not ridiculing my parents before they did not know. The teachings. What are we teaching people in the community? What are we teaching our children? Where do we get a fresh start? Where do we get a start where we're untarnished? You see the man in the video? If you knew his background, it would make you squirm. People like him and people like me were spat upon and walked over and walked around in our times of need. I'm going to maintain my emotion because I am feeling an emotion right now. Who am I? I discovered that my emotions throughout my life, throughout my childhood, were affected because of my parents and their social surroundings. My community was full of fun. Oh yes, it was. But that took out children's lives because it was full of alcohol, full of crime. It wasn't full of divide though. It was a community back then, a bit of a community, because it was the uniform versus the community. Here we go today. But it was a community. No doors were locked. Doors were open. You could walk in the door. You could leave it unlocked. You can't do that now. Everything has changed throughout life, and people are becoming ignorant. People are becoming the poison within the community. I'm going to read your comment, and then I am going to read your comments, and I'm trying to stay a little bit focused on what my message is here today. I can show you over 130 something videos since 2016 to 2020 of the work that I've been doing in the community, and not a dime am I taking for myself. Not a dime. Everything we do, everything I do, I built to help people like Chad, like Stephanie. You can speak to Stephanie Coral yourself, Stephanie Parsons yourself. We all identify with our names openly to spread the awareness, because we pledged to give back and not walk around people like Chad. We pledge to give back awareness, to stop the hate, to stop the discrimination, to stop the divide, to stop the nasty bitterness and the name calling. Well, yesterday I had about enough. You know that when most people see me, they think, oh, here she goes again. Well, I'm the founder of Mind Over Matter, suicide prevention. And I took a role in this because nobody else was, were they? They were walking around people like Chad, walking around people like me, walking around people like Dave, walking around people like Sadia, walking around people like, need I go on? Hold on, there's so many more names. Nikki, walking around people like Shaz. I can go on and on and on and on and on. We all have a journey of pretty much the same. I don't mention other names unless they don't want me to mention other names, okay? And for me, since this lockdown, since technology, everything is heightened. And your friends are turning on each other. People you've known for years are turning because people don't want to be that way. I've come away from crime. I've come away from having people putting ammunition in my head. I've come away from the drugs and the alcohol abuse. I've come away from cocaine. Chad came away from heroin. Nikki came away from alcohol. I've come away from promiscuity. People are coming away from self-harm. We're literally harming themselves because they're having that time to talk. Because I stopped at the roadside. I stopped at the roadside. I am angry. I'm annoyed because yesterday a post was put on Facebook. Your friend's Facebook. You don't expect your friends to be spreading hate and divide. I got the concept, and guess what? When we're witnessing murders before our very eyes on Facebook, did we have a choice to watch it? We didn't know what we were going to watch. I like to raise awareness. I'm taking interest in what my friends are taking an interest in. Yesterday, someone got shot. Somebody got shot. I don't know when the time or frame of the video. Someone got shot 7 times. We witnessed that. Post-traumatic stress disorder. That's for anyone witnessing that. But I was turned upon because my view in how I project my words, written words, in how I personally feel about that, was one of which I'm careful with my words, not to continue the hate, not to continue racism, not to continue the name calling. All of those things, we happen to us growing up. Name calling, bullying, harassment, discrimination. When I am called out about the color of my skin and I am sent an image in my inbox to say that I don't know where I fit in this world, my middle finger is right up there. I don't want to fit in. I want to stand out for the work that I have done and doing. Are you standing out for the work that you're doing for the community? Can people come to you without judgment, ridicule, name calling? So the names that I were called, which I am against, is I'm a nasty woman. I'm an idiot. But the worst one that's supposed to hurt me is the color of my skin. That I don't know my place in this world. That I don't know my place in this world. Do you know what? Just like Chad, everybody walked around me and I had to find my own place in this world. Whilst everybody out there was going out there committing crimes and doing the same old shit that I used to do. I had to change, rehabilitate my attitude to life because my teachings came from a life of crime. A life of abuse, a life of physical, mental, and sexual abuse throughout. Now, rebuilding your life is not an easy mission. But I went out there to look for the tools to change my attitude to life and realize that people are individuals and they think differently because of the scar tissue and the things that have happened to them. So everybody is tarnished with the same brush, although they don't want to think that way, but they're dubious, so they stay back, and trust becomes an issue amongst those, even in their surroundings. People are turning against them, left, right, and center, because the opinions are different. A matter of opinion can make or break. I personally don't care if people that call me names let go of my hand. People that call other people names, let go of my hand and come out of my surroundings, for I do not want negative in my surroundings. The other thing that I have to say is, so effing what? I help the community. So effing what? I am running a business or a company, and my reputation is about my reputation. I get the job done. How hard I am, I get that job done. I'm doing it. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not having a pity party about my mental health. I have emotionally unstable personality disorder, but look, guess what? I'm still putting the energy into the community and helping all day long. Have you subscribed to my YouTube channel? Have you seen the videos, the footage? And if you want to go back in 2016, you will see the tough life that I had, having to rise up from that floor. That was Kerry's Angels one. Or go to Mind Over Matter Project and look in the homeless journey, and you'll see all my homeless journey. The color of my skin does not define how incredible I am and what I am doing, despite my war that I have been in. When people judge me for the color of my skin and judge others for the color of their skin and use that as an ammunition to spread hate and divide because they've seen something on Facebook, we can't. When it's in the US of A, there's not much we can do but get a message out to the USA. Put down your weapons, and also your weapon of your mouth. Name calling, criticizing. They're recruiting. Each time you pull down members of the community, they will recruit to make a stronger pack. Now you've got the good and you've got the bad side. And I really mean that. You've got people that want to lead you into a path of crime, hate, divide. You've got people that want you to follow their thought process. And when you don't follow their thought process, they think you're against them. But it isn't against them at all. It's just that I don't condone that behavior of violence. I don't condone that behavior of discrimination. I don't condone that behavior of name calling. Why? Because I've had it done to me. And I wanted to commit suicide over it. And time again, when you have to manage your emotions, people say, what, really? How could you get so low? Well, how can people keep beating you down with words? Beating you down with naming and shaming? Do you know what? This person, I'm going to play it. This person, I'm not going to play it actually. This person went to a former person that fell out with me again because I don't agree with their words of hate. And got some ammunition. And guess what? The ammunition was my voice message saying, if you think you can go to my members and try and get them to side with your way of thinking by spreading hate, divide, and racism, you're sadly mistaken, because we are a no secret policy. So therefore, if you want to talk, bring it to the table under one banner. It's called Open Talk. We have that every Wednesday. That means you can talk about the things that are bothering you within the community. But when you turn on your friends because of some material that you've posted yourself and we are against that material, Up yours. Literally up yours. Because at the end of the day, what you try to do was tear down my business. My business. Mind over matter gives back is not a play area where people can write words to have a personal attack against me. The M.O.M Project is suicide prevention. And if you read the rules and the guidelines, it says no naming and shaming, public humiliation, degrading treatment. And you think people can come and do that to me, degrade me? I blog, I talk live because many people won't. They sit at home and they self-harm. They sit at home and they cut the whole world off and they end up in a horrible, miserable depression. That used to be me. That used to be me. Just the minute you don't like what somebody's opinion is, they turn on you like a nasty piece of work. And they do their worst. And their worst is name calling. But all it does is shame them. Because the last memory I have of nasty behavior is of them. So it overrides the good, right? To put me down and attack me. And then tell me, how can I be an ambassador of mental health awareness when I speak up against racism? When I speak up against degrading treatment and abuse. And if I feel it's happening to me, I'm going to speak up against it. I teach my members, I teach the public, speak up against abuse. Don't have to tolerate it, you know. You don't have to have degrading treatment. You don't have to be humiliated publicly. You don't have to be ganged up upon, because that's what they like to do. And again, another person, the same day, came from out of the blue, from October, came to poke their nose in again and stir shit on my platform. Another one, bullying. What is it with bullies? What are they home in on someone and they can't let it go? Revenge. They seek revenge. That's a mental problem, you know, that you have to sort out. Revenge is anger. If you want revenge, do it in a productive way. Spread your emotions, share your emotions in a productive way. Without naming and shaming, you can talk, you know, without naming and shaming. But when you get your bullies, when everybody starts to bully me, I'm going to come up rising harder. When I wear this hat, I'm in business. You mess with me, I'm going to start compiling a list, just like they do on all the other profiles when they name people, just like the media does when they name people for crimes that are being committed against another person. I am not on one woman. And when I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 bullies, and then I add on top of that 13 and 14 as I go on helping the community, what this is a defense, because they can't change. They can't change. They see the change in me, but they can't change, so they fight my change. And they want me to gang up. They want me to side with them and pull me back into that ghetto mode. That community where you gang and have a hangout and start drinking and hang on and picking on the other people. I've been there when I was a child. I've been there hanging out top people, you know. I've been there. I don't want to be there no more. I don't want to be a top person known as a bully. A top person known because I use my mouth and my nasty words on someone. Because I went around going blah, 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 blah. I don't want to be there. I'm not at school anymore. I'm not at school anymore. This is not a playground. This is people's lives. And this is my life. And I will defend my life and my rights and what I have built up. I don't see anybody else doing a suicide prevention, putting their personal emotions so you can learn the journey of an emotionally unstable personality disorder. Really? I got that label because of domestic violence, because of rape, because of child abuse, because of bullying. I got that label because of that. I'm not there anymore. I don't have to wear that no more, because at the end of the day, yeah, I deal with my emotions. That's the label I want you to look at. The emotion. How does she deal with her emotions when she's angry? How does she deal with her emotions now when she's angry, when she's got something to say? Rather than be quiet and revert and help and hurt myself like I used to, or go to the bottom of a bottle like I used to. First thing you want to do is grab a bottle, get drunk, and just say, shut it out. How do I manage those emotions now? Just like Chad. We knew we couldn't be in the bottom of the bottle when people are doing horrible things to us. We had to speak out. We had to speak up against it. We had to find help about it. I don't want to go to the police about these people because I actually do not like the uniform very much. But when I still say at the end of the day that behind that uniform is a human being, and some of these people give a really bad reputation, and it's putting fear amongst the community and hate. So must I hate everybody in that uniform? Or wears that uniform? Because there's times I need that uniform. And when you guys have a burglary or a robbery, or you need to report a crime, regardless you hate the uniform, you've got to call them, and you will call them, won't you? Because if you don't call them, then the crimes continue, don't they? So at least you can log it down and say, I told you so. Whether or not you press charges or take it or whatever else, you file it. You file it. So when crimes are committed against me, I file it. I file it. And I'm not ashamed to say I file it, because somebody taught me to be silent once, to let crimes be committed against me and my loved ones. Someone said, if you tell, there's going to be a consequence. Someone said, if you tell the police, you're a snitch. Snitch is whatever they call it. They gave all the names for it. It's enough. They really say, don't tell, because it's keeping someone's dirty secrets in the way they are doing criminal behavior. No, you tell. Even if you don't like the uniform, you tell. Because telling will free you. You know what? You might be in fear, but there's nothing worse than being in fear every single day of your life because of perpetrators or bullies. That school playground bully. Remember that? They're the ones that have the bigger problems. They're the ones that home life is shitty. They're the ones whose upbringing was not very good. They're the ones that still got problems when they're bullying. That's right, the school playground bully. We all know about the school playground bully. The one, the big I am, the bigger, yeah, watch me, follow me. We know about that. With the top people, we already know about those top people. We already know. I was one of them once. But deep down, behind closed doors, the life is imperfect. Behind closed doors, the role models are not role models that you could be proud of. The role models are showing you a life of crime, sex, drugs, and alcohol. And that's what goes on in this day. Gossip, ganging up on people. I'm fed up of people ganging up on me and thinking they can tear down what I've built up. If you want to change in this world, go out and get it like I did. I wasn't raised with a silver spoon in my mouth. I was dragged up in and out of care homes, in and out of different people's lives, learning different behaviors from different people. I didn't have very good, sufficient role models, but they did teach me how to fight. That's one thing they did. But their way of fighting would end up in prison, would end up in jail, would end up with a criminal record, would end up where you lose your life to crime. So I had a choice every time I stood up in the dock. I had a choice. Fix up or go to prison. A life of crime isn't for me. Drink, drugs, and alcohol isn't for me. I had responsibilities. I had my first child at 17 years old, just a baby myself. My childhood was ripped out from me. I didn't know how to be an adult. Not in the way I was supposed to have been an adult, because my childhood prevented me from being what I needed to be. So I felt I wasn't a very good mother. But people tell me different, that I've been a good mother. But I felt I wasn't a very good mother. My children love me. Some have issues with maybe the way I have affected them in their life, most probably, and resent me for what I put them through. How I managed to keep my kids, I don't know. Through the domestic violence, I don't know. I had a choice though. Keep my children or keep the man that's showing me domestic violence, the man that's showing me how to hate the world, and the one that showed me racism also. Even though I was of my complexion, I got with somebody of a white complexion, and I was called all kinds of names when they had enough of me, and it degraded me, and it made me feel, all this time you've been sleeping with me, sleeping behind my back, cheating on me, but penalizing me and degrading me and keeping me in my home, in the kitchen, ironing. That's right. Degrading treatment. My story wasn't much different than a lot of people that's experiencing domestic violence. But when you get with people of a different ethnicity, the thing is, for me, is because my mum's white, I had no problem in dating a white man because I loved my mother despite flaws. I had no problem dating black men because I loved my father despite flaws. I had no problem dating people of my own complexion because I loved my complexion, but I was dubious about this same complexion, to be honest. I always used to see these complexions and say, pretty boy, I've heard all about these people. You know why? Because all they do is cheat on women. That was the reputation of light-skinned men. Reputation. And then the reputation of each and every ethnicity that I've dated had a reputation behind it. But I took an individual for the goodness that they show me at the beginning. But when somebody's good and done with you, they sit there and they ridicule you and they forget about the goodness and why they got with you in the first place. But they show the racism at the end. I've been called an N-word. I've literally had I'm not going to put it out because it's quite too distressing. I've literally been really completely degraded down below and called the N-word and sent packing. I felt really demoralized. I've been punched in the nose and called the N-word. That's right. I've been called a breed. I've been called you're confused. You don't know who you are. How could you possibly know how we feel? Well, what do you mean, how can I not know how you feel? Wasn't you raised in the same era that I was? Wasn't you raised in the 1970s and the 80s, whatever else? Aren't you living in the same era I am, the same century that I am? So tell me your story against my story and tell me at the end of the day who's worse and who's not. Is that a game what we're playing here? Because at the end of the day, I told you where I've come from. I wasn't raised in a stable home. I've been in care homes. I've been passed through the social services. I've been passed through the pillar to post. I've had a life of crime. Okay? But what am I doing about my life? I've turned a corner to realize that lifestyle that I had and the people that I was around in the community, that they can stay there if they want to. But I needed to grow. I needed to change because I didn't want to keep ending up in a place where there's crime, there's homelessness. Homelessness nearly killed me. That homeless journey nearly killed me. That nearly killed Chad, and it certainly killed his wife. His wifey. It killed her. We buried her. And you don't want to know his story. I mean, it's there. But we buried her. Because the homeless journey is uncruel, is unkind. This whole journey of life is cruel and unkind. And you need a supportive community. And when the community starts turning against each other, where can you go then? If you don't like the police, and the community is turning against you, where can you go then? It's called nowhere to run. So then what are you going to do with that anger when you no longer want to talk to the police because you don't like the police? You can't talk to your friends because they're turned against you because they don't want you don't share the same opinions because you've grown and they want to stay there with hatred. Where can you turn? So you know what I done? I built my own community. That's right. I bought a platform of survivors, people that have lived it, people that have also been through what I've been through, people that are trying to muster their emotions on a daily basis, and people that want to succeed and have their own businesses in life. We can't blame anyone but ourselves if we don't put action, one foot in front of the other, and change things. We can't. I don't hold anybody accountable but myself for my actions. And when people want to send old messages that I've sent to them, did you find out what the date was? Did you find out what the crime was before you disseminate messages that I personally sent to you to the next person? This is not school. This is my life. This isn't the people that I help lives too, for they rely on me. They rely on this project that is keeping them afloat and integrating them back into the community safely with tools and knowledge to be mindful, be aware of people that are trying to tear you down. When you get angry, don't revert back in a fighting war. There's no point. No point. Leave it. Say your piece. I'm not comfortable. I don't promote hate. I don't want divide. I don't want discrimination. I do understand what it feels like to be discriminated. I got rewarded compensation from it, and I built a project called Mind Over Matter, Suicide Prevention, Mental Health Support and Awareness, Education and workshops and one-to-ones and group therapies. I've done that. So those that are degrading me and want to pick on me and just be a keyboard warrior, show me your hand and I'll show you mine. My weapon against those that discriminate against me. That's right, my weapon is my work. So you can read all about it, like Emily Sanchez says. Sunday, says, read all about it. You can read all about it on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm transparent. I have no secrets, for these secrets destroy lives. If I've got something to say, I teach. Offload it, get rid of it, move on. Harboring it will not help you. And I'm going to show you. I've been here for 43 minutes. I'm going to finish this.
They wouldn't even give me a chance. I got my hair cut because I wouldn't do what they said they want me to do.
What do they want you to do?
But they said, have a shower, and Karen started to say, listen, have a shower, they were just done. And because I do as they said, I told sure basically.
Okay.
I got my own painting here.
Okay. You can't live. How long have you been on the streets for?
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
And not a warm bed?
No.
Ever?
No.
Oh my God, child,
this got to change.
I said, the council said the room was higher enough. Told them, not here, Friday, January. Because it won't tell me that she'll walk to the shop and take me out to the legs. And she'll walk.
That was your girlfriend,
The
yeah.
one you put on there was negative channel, negative channel.
Negative channel.
Yeah, that made it worse and worse and worse.
Okay, that she had her own specific reasons as to not got that destination.
Mm.
Okay. What about you? Why won't they help you into a home? The high risk, as in addict?
No, as in
Drink.
violence and
Why do you think you're that way?
prison. No divorce.
Why do you think you're that way? I can imagine why you're that way at the moment. You must be highly frustrated with the lack of support that you've had. So when you came out of prison, did they help you at all? They just sent you out the door and sent you packing, and with nothing in your pocket.
Couldn't pay bread. 12 years old for the first time. And they took me the key rentals. Landlord, Graham Williams, key rentals, yeah. And like, it's got to go to shed house on Borough Road. And it's just full of criminals and cassettes. And basically put me from back to Wolves.
Yeah.
So I was in the shed house a week, and I got involved in it tomorrow. And didn't me, I tried to blame him there. And I had to come to here, to get away from all the crap. And basically, he said the place was full of drugs.
Okay.
No one touched me because I was violent. Because
That's not fair that you're not given a break, is it? I mean, we've all done stupid things in our past. You shouldn't have to pay them for the rest of your life. No, you shouldn't. And this is not good enough. Not on my watch. I'm telling you now, Kerry's Angels is going to do something about this. And what I want to do is open a rehabilitation centre for the homeless that want to change their life. That means
that's just what I want to do.
you want to change your life. They're going to want to do it. In my programme, more detail that you have to get. You won't be having. You get a bed out of it. You get a job out of it, and you get. That's what we want to do. Get you back to society, mainstream society, so you can help others. So
I've got qualifications as well. I've got 2 apprenticeships.
what does that do, Dan?
Printing and electrical mechanics.
Mechanics.
Electrical mechanics.
Electrical and let's short supply those people. We'll tell you that.
Small engines and wash machines and
So if somebody was to offer you a job
and
and you got paid from it, the thing is about getting your own place is coming up with that deposit, isn't it? Yeah? Would you change your life and stop the drink?
I don't know, but something drinking. I've already stopped the drugs.
That's a blinking start. That's a good start.
I stopped doing the crime. I've been in prison now for 5 years.
Well done.
Everything basically. I don't want to stop drinking because
It's your comfort blanket, but you see that drink is leaving you here.
I know that, but I'm an Irishman and it's the way it is.
Are you happy to stay on the streets for the rest of your life?
If I have to do it, I have to do it.
Are you happy to stay on the streets for the rest? So in order to
I can't live with people.
No, but if you had your own place, would you turn that your world around?
Yeah, I would as long as I had help. Like
This is
this
is the thing that we need to try and get you.
Just keep dropping you off and just dumping you and sitting tired of it.
Yeah, I don't think.
Help. And that's just getting.
So if somebody offered you, say, Chad, I've got a job for you in what you wanted to do, and I've got a bed for you in your own room, would you quit the alcohol and do it?
I'd try.
You'd have a go.
Yeah.
So you'd need somebody to intervene and help you with their drink and try and get you rehabilitated. But if you had a goal, I'm sure you'd be so much more happy knowing that you've probably got a future rather than sitting here for the rest of your life. We can't have this. This is going to cause the illness.
At the moment, I don't feel too well anyway.
Yeah, but it's going to get colder.
You know, and my chest is killing me as well.
Oh.
But it's not that. At the moment, I'm still mourning because my girlfriend.
I know you are, darling. They're not even offered you bereavement. Nothing. No one's come to see you. Oh dear. Chad, I'm going to cut this off and then I'm going to write down a little bit more about you. All right. And I appreciate what you do. This is absolutely disgusting and not on Kerry's Angels Watch. Is this going to continue? So I'm highlighting this. And thank you, Chad, for your interview. I'm not finished with you, and I'll never be finished with you right now because we're going to make sure that we get your message out. Thank you, Kerry's Angels. Over and out.
Today's date is the 21st of January 2000. So, you heard him. Nobody wanted to help him. Everybody say they're going to do something and don't do it. He lost his girlfriend. He didn't have no bereavement. He had no counselling. He had nothing. To attend her funeral, he was lied to and said that she was already buried. So he thought he was going crazy, lost his days, and realised, and he thought the funeral had gone. No, he was lied to in front of my face. I found out that his girlfriend was not buried, and we held a funeral for her. That went really well. We helped him with bereavement. I said I, Kerry, Mussington, helped the Irish man. No blacks, no dogs, no Irish. That's what I was taught. That's the words that I see. That's the vision that I see written, contents. And so how do I fit myself back into society when society says, be warned? I can't live my life by hate. I can't live my life by, I heard his story. Nobody wanted to give him a chance because he has a past. High risk. Well, I took a risk on a high risk and I rehabilitated a high risk. He was more scared of me than I was scared of him. Like I said, people just need a chance to grow because when they've been injured as a child, they've never had that chance to grow. So rehabilitation is key. And I am on my rehabilitation journey to not go back to where I have been to end up like Chad. Luckily for Chad, I worked with Chad and got his home back. Keys helped him. I cleaned up addiction, heroin, needles, and the blood stain from the body of his missus that was all over the flat that the council did not clean up. So sending me in to help him after that tragedy of death and seeing the aftermath crime, nobody offered me help either. Nobody offered him help either. So when I started realizing what's missing within the community, I went on to help people through my journey. Was no different than theirs. Rehabilitation is important. Stop spreading hate is important. Stop saying it's about the color of your skin. I understand that people don't like different. I understand that it's frightening for some that don't like different. But teach well. Because if it comes to transplants and saving life, I'm sure you wouldn't worry about the color of your skin or the color of their skin when needing a transplant or a life-saving operation, and only the opposite had your life-saving treatment. Maybe to save your child, but you need a donor from the opposite color. I like the color of my skin and I like who I am. I love who I am. I'm not going to let bitterness and nastiness and all the hate and spiteful people, and you know what? I'm not letting them. And it's females. Females tearing other females down. I've had enough tearing down. You either help me build up the community or go and tear yourself down in another space. But as long as you're in my space, around my surroundings, I will do everything possible to keep hate away from me. If my circle. Now I'm going to read the comments. Sky. I met a homeless man who said Gov put them into accommodation at the start of lockdown, and now they've been chucked on the street again. So sad, God bless. If they're vulnerable, Sky, you should have passed them over to myself. I see where I can help there, because everybody has a right to a basic human need of accommodation. That's what you could have done. The lifelines here, but well done. I offered to give food, water, medicines. What kind of medicine? Because think about the addiction. Please think wisely on giving people medication when it comes to addiction, etc. Okay, just be careful in that area. As you see, Chad said that he was coming off of all the tablets and had to go on a methadone program. So I walked that journey with him in watching the methadone program and learning about the methadone program step by step and how it comes to weaning them off. Food and water certainly do ask. At the end of the day, have a conversation, because what I found with Chad is that Chad could not read and he could barely write. So that was a hindrance for him in getting the help and support. So if I hadn't stopped, I don't believe Chad would be alive today, or he certainly would have been in prison. Pneumonia was on the scene at the time as well. It was freezing cold. It was January the 21st, I think I said. Yeah, right. I met a homeless man a few days ago, and he said, "Oh, sorry, darling. Oh, that's part of the other one. But now they chucked him on the street. What are these people meant to do? How can we help? I offer food and water and medicine. This is why people turn to drugs, deny help and even a smile." You're absolutely right. At the end of the day, when we do our part, and thank you for stopping and talking, because at the end of the day, most people won't. So when the fact that you do and I do, and I know there's a few other people that do, that makes all the difference, because you're not adding to the ignorance to the community. Thanks. I'm saying thank you. But if you've got anyone that's homeless and they need a bit of help, you're on the M.O.M, guided to M.O.M. I know that I can give housing advice. I've lived it. I've helped people. Like I said, don't believe me, you've only got to look at the news articles. It shows you. You've only got to ask my members. Sometimes people don't get things right. Even when the assessment is done, that's not actually quite done politically correct sometimes, especially when they write certain words. They just write down the diagnosis. They don't understand the diagnosis, or what it means to regulate emotions, or how that addiction affects somebody on a daily basis, what dangers they put themselves in on a daily basis. One of the things that I used to do is put myself in danger and not care. I had an I don't care attitude, and a lot of people have that I don't care attitude. That's self-sabotage and disrespect for ourselves. Really is low self-esteem with an I don't care attitude of hurting oneself. Hello, Dave. Hi, my love. Hi. I don't, Sky, truth, I've had about 4 friends end their friendship and unnecessary divide. Yeah, so what does it feel like, I mean, I know what it feels. There's no point me asking you what it feels like about racism or discrimination or something like that, because at the end of the day, racism doesn't mean it comes to every one of us, every single one of us, in some shape or form, because people don't like different, and it's their issue. It's not yours. It's their hang up, not yours. My surroundings, I make sure I have a diverse surroundings, because it's nice to be educated about different cultures. Some might want a roast dinner, and some might want chicken and rice, and some might want pasta. It's nice to know about different cultures. If you eat different foods, learn about where they're coming from. Hate, divide, there's no place for that for me. And I don't care what people say to me. Yeah, well, you're supposed to set me an example. I'm a human being. I'm not a robot. And if I'm affected by crime, if I'm affected by hate, if I'm affected because somebody's trying to tear down my business, I'm going to speak up against it. I'm going to speak up against it, and I'm going to speak out against it. And if you are my friend, associate, family, I will still speak up against it. For I am educating people. Do not tolerate abuse. You cannot raise a community on hate. And you cannot tarnish everybody with the same brush because you have seen something you don't like. Those triggers are your personal triggers for your personal journey. And not everybody shares the same views, the same opinions, or the same story, or the same emotion. Rightly so. Sympathy, empathy. You can sympathize with someone, but to have empathy means you have to have lived it. Now I'm going to get on with my job. I'm going to get on raising awareness within the community. I'm going to stand true with who I am. If you don't like me, block, delete, remove, don't talk about me, and then I won't unsettle your mind. For to talk about me constantly, to come back and attack me constantly, shows me revenge, shows me no progression. And that's why I move away from that cycle where somebody is homing on into the point it becomes stalking, harassment. So when you come to take down my business, be prepared for the fight. And when you do want to disseminate old messages from somebody else to big you up and pull your little gang in with you to say, yeah, all right, let's go and get up, let's go and attack her. That won't work. But everything you send me to, name calling, is my rebuttal back to what I stand for. No naming, no shaming, no degrading treatment, no bullying, no harassment, no divide in the community. It is unity. Now, I can't save the whole world, but those in my circle and those around me, they know my aims, and that is to help people up, not bring them down. And if this resonates to people in my circle that have hurt me, think twice. Why are you hurting somebody you're supposed to like? And you know their journey. Why would you add extra trauma? Why? And most of all, why would you take and try to take down a survival platform that is helping people? Now, that will be a mind over matter, won't it?